Shalom, brothers. As always, all praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakaha Quadash, double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, Lord willing, this one will be quick, man. And just want to touch on a few points here because we in the truth, we know that, Israel is not determined by skin color, and appearance, right? It's all about the spirit. But Jake is gonna see someone that appears to be an Edomite, and they're gonna be amazed at how they move and what they're doing. But when you're in this truth and you the spirit teaches you things, shows you things. We have our teachers, our elders, apostles, brothers. We all learn from our brothers around us in this truth. Very wise men. Which is the spirit of Yahweh Shemir Shai flows through. We understand these things, man. You see it in sports, in basketball, you see different Israelites that appear to be, look like the heathen, look like Caucasians, but they're really not. They're Israelite men. They move like Jake, they speak like Jake, they do the things that an Israelite would do. Likewise in music and dancing, it's all about the spirit, man. You can't fake the spirit. You can fake everything else but the spirit, man. The spirit will show, man. The spirit would ooze out. You can't hide the greatness of being an Israelite, man. On the simplest levels. So I got, the normal precepts. Not to say normal, but the precepts that we all know, man. But I'm going to start here in Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9. And it says, "My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour." Right? So the point is the heritage of an Israelite, man, is like unto a speckled bird, man. Our nation is like unto a speckled bird. And I do have a picture here of a speckled bird. Salaki, I do have a picture here of a speckled bird. And when you look at a speckled bird, it's a very colorful bird, man. With different colors. You see white, you see black, you see blue, you see red. The point is that, let me read here in Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And it says, "The Lord shall scatter you among the nations," right? The Lord did this. The Lord, when Israel was being, cursed, the Lord was punishing Israel. The Lord scattered our nation amongst the nations, right? And he says, "Ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you." And what do you think happened? Or our nation grew amongst these heathen, and we mixed and mingled, and we became a large nation, larger than any nation on the planet Earth. And to prove that, where do we go? So this is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 22. It says, "For thou, my people, Israel, be as the sand of the sea." Right? So Israel is like the sand of the sea, man. You can't number the sand of the sea. It's so many pebbles, so many grains, right? But that's what Israel is likened unto. Israel is likened unto the sand of the sea, right? So the point is that, our people, our men, the men of our nation were mingled amongst the heathen, and we laid with the women of the heathen women, and we impregnated these women, and babies were born, so-called mixed, which there's no such thing as mixed, because you are what your father is. Your lineage goes back to who your forefathers are, who your father's father is. So no matter if you laid with a Chinese woman or a Caucasian woman, the child would be an Israelite child. So someone such as him, it's quite simple, man. He's an Israelite. And how do we know so? Because by faith, ultimately, we believe so, because we can't prove it, with genealogy, but we use the spirit to identify this, because the scriptures let us know. And before I read that, I just want to make this point as well. Why did it go away? Right. So sometimes this thing does this. Sucks. So there was a picture here because I googled diverse look, because Israel is a very diverse race, right? A diverse nation. Our people are very diverse in looks, and it says generally refers to a collection of appearances that showcase a wide variety of characteristics, traits reflecting a variety of human features and background. So let me see if the picture comes up. So all right, this does it, man. This is perfect, right? Israel can look like every single person in these squares, man. Israelite can look like an Elamite, look like John Shaft, look like um what's that chick name? Um look like a Latin tribe, you know, look like a Indonesian or whatever it may be. Look like a red-haired cracker, whatever. It could look like a small hat, because a lot of these small hats, these so-called, these Jewish people that claim to be us, a lot of them are actually Israelites, man, because we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But ultimately, for this guy's case, what do? We use Romans chapter 8, verse 16. It says, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. That's why, you had those Benjamites, reacting like this, because their spirit is bearing witness. They're like, I fuck with this, I can relate with this. He's getting down, as Jake says, he's busting a move. He's doing he's valid, or whatever Jake says nowadays, man. It's said 50 years ago today. That's the same reaction our people has to spirit, to life, to vibes. Because why? Because we're not like them. Jacob is not like them, man. We're completely different. It says the portion, this is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 16. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is a former of all things, and Israel is a rod of his inheritance. Lord of hosts is his name, right? So our portion is different, man. We're separate. We're made holy. We're made above all of these nations. That's why we dominate in all aspects. We dominate in sports. We dominate in creating things. We dominate in music. We dominate in dancing. And all of these things come from the spirit, man. You know, even when Esau has been given certain, blessings in these times, and you have the Salakia. I'm trying to remember their title, but I'll just say the Germans today, the wisest of the Edomites, even with them being, given the earth into their hands, and their blessings, you know we're still above them. We're still above them in all aspects. We're just under the curses. Our people, are vastly, under the curses, and suffer these curses that are written in Deuteronomy chapter 28 without even knowing. But the point is that the spirit itself bears witness, and we're not like them. So when you see an individual moving like this or doing certain things, don't just say, he's a white boy, or why is white boy, he's different. Or they have this saying in this world, Jacob, like, he can come to the cookout. Why? Because that person has flavor, that person has spirit. Because why? I don't think I read it. Salakia. Bear with me here, just checking. I don't think I pulled it up. This was not meant to be long at all. So this is Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, and it says, ye are the salt of the earth, right? And that's the point. I'll just read the first line. Israel is the salt of the earth, man. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set upon a hill cannot be hid. So the spirit that dwells within an Israelite cannot be hid, man, no matter if the Israelite looks like Jackie Chan, which Jackie Chan I believe is an Israelite, Bruce Lee, I believe he's an Israelite, Jeremy Lin. I believe those men are Israelites because their spirit is so bright. It shines bright. It cannot be hid, right? The flavor of Jay cannot be hid, man. That's why all these nations follow us. They love our music, even though it's used to destroy us today because we're so influential. These devils use us, and Salakia, and promote the degeneracy that our people are spewing because we're so flavorful with it. It's catchy, it sounds good. The way how we dress is stylish, even though a lot of the styles that our people are wearing today is wicked. It's not respectable attire, it's not the right garments of our culture. However, we're still, flavorful and stylish, and we are the salt of the earth. Our portion is indeed different. We are separate and above you people, but we're supposed to be holy and be a standard of righteousness. But our people are very low in these states. That's why the Lord has ordained his men of the Lord, the prophets, to speak on the things that are right, to speak on the things that are righteous. Lead the elect back to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. That's the only reason why the prophets are out there, for the elect. And also to warn, not the only reason, but also to warn you wicked nations of the destruction that's coming. But the point is, man, don't. It's a full time now, which people are not gonna stop. But it's sometimes it annoys me. It's very simple to understand. For the righteous, the hopeful elect, that Israel looks like all nations, and not to judge someone based on the color of their skin, not to judge someone based on what Esau defines them as, because the spirit ultimately is going to bear witness. That's why you have different brothers in the camps of GMS, Great Moonstone, that look like the heathen, but they're not. But ultimately, that's just a stumbling block for you wicked ass Israelites, man, that don't walk in the spirit, that don't look at things through the spirit. Because if you were walking spiritually, you would understand that when men are dispersed, amongst throughout the four corners of the earth, and put amongst the heathen, these things happen. We have many NBA players today. My favorite example is actually Lonzo Ball. The famous Ball family in the NBA. When you look at their family, because his father is a so-called, black man, a Negro in America. He's an Israelite man from the tribe of Judah. When you look at Lonzo's daughter, she looks like an Edomite, but she's not, because her father is an Israelite. And why did that happen? Because Lonzo's mother she appears to be an Edomite, right? She has an Edomite features. So his mom appears to be an Edomite, but his father is a brown-skinned Israelite man. And then you have Lonzo that, has the appearance of a light-skinned Israelite man, and he had a baby with a woman that appears to be an Edomite. Let's say she is an Edomite, it doesn't matter. Their daughter is still an Israelite, because you are who your father is according to the Bible. But people get so caught up on color because of Esau. Esau created these psychological operations. He labeled people as colors. He called himself white because white means pure, holy, clean. He called us black because black means darkness, void of light, midnight, dirt, everything that's negative. So it's all about the vibrations of the words, because the true white people are you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, because we're the true, pure, holy people, right? So with that, I'm gonna leave it there. Just look at things through the spirit, and not based on appearance, not based on how someone hair looks, how their nose look, how their skin color looks. It's all about the spirit, man. Shalom.